less than 2 weeks out from the election, the high-profile Virginia governor's race appears to be neck and neck. A Monmouth University survey shows voters are split 46 to 46% over Democrat Terry McAuliffe and Republican Glenn Youngkin. State President Joe Biden carried in the 2020 presidential election. Joining me now is Vince Coglianese, Editorial Director for the Daily Caller. Vince, welcome back. Always great to see you. I want to talk about the Virginia governor's race. It's really getting a lot of attention right now. And it seems that Democrats are pretty concerned about voter enthusiasm. What do you think is the mood among voters in Virginia?
I think it's both disinterest and disappointment among Democrats right now in Virginia, which bodes very poorly for the former governor of the Commonwealth, which is Terry McAuliffe. He is running now again to return to the governor's house, and his chances, they look like a coin toss at this moment. His opponent, Glenn Youngkin, has pretty successfully attracted a coalition of some enthusiastic voters, Republicans, and even some Democrats, and definitely some independents in Virginia. And a lot of the issues really are about a couple of things, but I say the two primary issues are education and the issue of abortion. Now, Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, is running very strongly on this issue of education. You know, Terry McAuliffe a couple of weeks ago in a debate said that parents should have no role in telling schools what their kids should be taught. That is just a tragic mistake to make in a political environment. And Glenn Youngkin has made sure voters hear that quote all the time. Meanwhile, Terry McAuliffe is claiming that Glenn Youngkin is seeking to ban abortion entirely in Virginia. That is not Youngkin's position, although he is pro-life. But Terry McAuliffe thinks that making Youngkin seem like he's going to aggressively pursue getting rid of abortion in the state is a winning formula for him. So he's been trying to rely on that. And that's where we are right now. Right now, a neck-and-neck race in Virginia.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that, Vince, some polling that came out yesterday, I mean, they literally are tied in this race, and this is being considered really a bellwether election. Let's talk a little bit more about that.
It is absolutely, and the reason why I think it's safe to consider this one a bellwether election is because Terry McAuliffe feels like that. If you listen to the rhetoric he's been using on the campaign trail of late, he's been complaining that Democrats in Washington are not getting their legislative agenda passed, and then as a result, it's weighing him down. Now, I would argue that Terry McAuliffe is not a very good candidate anyway, and so his problems are mostly of his own making. But insofar as Republicans, especially in Virginia, are energized, part of their energy does actually come from the failures of the Biden administration. So as you're watching as Joe Biden's numbers are absolutely plummeting. I mean, he is falling to new record lows in polling every day now. Big Monmouth University poll out this week that demonstrated he is just not polling well. He's especially turning off independents who are turning against him in rapid numbers. That's going to have an impact in Virginia. And Terry McAuliffe is going to have to bear the cost of Joe Biden's failures, especially if Terry McAuliffe ends up losing this race.
Yeah, Vince, I want to take, before we wrap up, a look at the country kind of overall. We're seeing a number of Democratic lawmakers announce their retirement ahead of the midterm elections. Do you think the U.S. House of Representatives may flip? And what do you think is spurring these retirements?
I think it's very likely it's going to flip. I mean, right now, within just the Democratic Party, there is gridlock over what the agenda should be and how far left to take the country. And it's disenchanting some of the members, and they are announcing their retirements. They're leaving. I think at this point, the House is, if the election were today, Republicans would very easily take the House and perhaps the Senate. So I think right now, the party with headwinds is the party in power. Democrats, again, owing to the fact that so much in the country is out of control right now, and voters blame the people who are in power. Democrats controlling the White House, the Senate by the slimmest of margins, and the House by a very slim margin. They're getting blamed because they're failing the American people. And so we could see, I think, a real change in one or both houses next year in those 2022 midterms.
Well, Vince, thank you so much for coming on. I always appreciate your analysis. Vince Coglianese, Editorial Director of the Daily Caller. Thank you again.
Thank you, Tracy.